Hey sports fans, welcome to the NFL Report. This is the Week 2 edition, and I'm your host as always, Dan. Well, let's just get right to it and start breaking these games down. We're going to start with the Bucs game like usual. So, the Bucs won 24-20 against the Lions. This game was back and forth literally from the first half to the second half. First half, Lions dominated. They were up 17-0. Bucs couldn't do anything. Second half was the opposite. The Bucs turned over a new leaf on offense. The defense was stopping the Lions. Looked like a totally different team, and they came away with the comeback victory. Next, we got the Bills and the Raiders. The Bills won 38-35, and this game was a shootout. It didn't look like a shootout on paper, but somehow both teams scored over 35 points. And this one, in the fourth quarter, was back and forth, back and forth. First the Raiders were up, the Bills came and scored, then the Raiders scored again, and then the Bills, on fourth down, Fitzpatrick threw a nice pass in the middle and sealed the deal. Alright, next we got the Packers and the Panthers. Packers won 30-23. Cam Newton was looking sharp once again, throwing for even more yards than he did in his opener. He's the first rookie to ever throw for 400-plus yards in 2 straight games. And not only 2 straight games, his first 2 games. So, props to Cam Newton. You're playing really well out there. On the other side, the Packers, of course, won. This game was not as close as the score looks. The Packers, they look good, just like they did last year. Super Bowl champs have yet to be taken down. Next, we got the Lions and the Chiefs. This was the biggest blowout of the week. The Lions won 48-3. The Chiefs, I don't even want to say anything about them. They just lost Jamal Charles. I already thought they were one of the worst teams. This might put them over the edge. Chiefs, you're now the worst team. Congratulations. And as far as the Lions, they look playoff hopeful. They're one of the only 2-0 teams left. Matt Stafford looks really sharp, and I look for them to win again next week. All right, next we got the Toilet Bowl. We got the Browns and the Colts. Let's just move on. Alright, so next we got the Saints and the Bears. Saints looked really good. The Bears did not show the defense that we saw from last week. Drew Brees was picking them apart, and their offense just wasn't producing like it was the week before. Jay Cutler was making way too many mistakes, and the Saints were just smashing him with pressure. So their offensive line needs to really step it up next week. So next we got the Jets and the Jaguars. Jets look like they could be one of the best teams this year, maybe the top team in the AFC besides the Patriots. And I think Mark Sanchez is playing a lot better than I expected him. As far as the Jaguars, now that Gerard's gone, come on guys, what were you thinking letting them go? That was a bad call, and it's going to show the rest of the season. We'll see how Blaine Gabbert does in the coming weeks as the starter, but that's just not something you do before the season begins, get rid of your quarterback. So, Jaguars, you really got to step it up. Next up, we got the first shutout of the year. The Steelers coming back angry and hungry after the Ravens just made them look like trash. So, they took it out on the Seahawks this week, holding them to nothing. Tavares Jackson, what are you doing starting at quarterback? You need to be on the bench. And somebody else needs to come in there and save him, because there's going to be a lot more zeros in the points column in the coming games if they don't do something to change it up. Alright, so next we got a game that was a big surprise to me. I really thought the Ravens were going to dominate the Titans, but it was the other way around. The Titans really showed them that they were the better team. The Ravens didn't look anything like they did last week. Joe Flacco was throwing bad passes. The only bright spot on the team was Ray Rice running the ball. On the other side, the Titans, they looked like a really dominant team other than their running game. Chris Johnson, where are you? You're not looking anything like you did last year at all. On the other hand, Kenny Britt still dominating. Matt Hasselbeck looking sharp. That should carry this team pretty far. Next, we got the closest game of the week, which was the Redskins and the Cardinals. Redskins came out on top 22-21, barely. But they definitely looked like the better team this game. Kevin Kolb on the Cardinals, still not looking like the answer. If not for Larry Fitzgerald saving you, you'd be on the bench, man. You need to step it up. Alright, so here's a game everybody's been talking about. This was another close game. Cowboys over the 49ers 27-24. The 49ers, I don't think Alex Smith is the answer. I never thought he was ever since they took him in the first pick years ago, and I don't know. They need to find something else. He's not the answer at quarterback. That's all I can say about them. On the other hand, the Cowboys' Tony Romo does look like the answer. He played through a cracked rib and a punctured lung and still threw beautiful pass at the end that led to the game-winning field goal. So a lot of props to Tony Romo. All right, next we got the Broncos over the Bengals, 24-22. Not much to say about this game. These are two bad teams trying to get better. I like what I see from Dalton on the Bengals, like I said last week. But other than that, they still need to find a way to win games. On the Broncos side, their defense looks pretty solid and Kyle Orton looks pretty good, but they're just not a strong team right now. There's a lot of teams I think that can beat them. So they need to expand in a lot of other areas. All right, next we got the Texans and the Dolphins. Texans came out on top 23-13. Really showed that they were the better team. They even have the #1 defense overall in terms of total yardage. I don't think they have the best defense in the NFL. That's for you to decide, but #1 overall statistically is pretty good. As far as the Dolphins, statistically they're one of the worst teams. Chad Henne did not look like he did the week before. Just throwing a lot of picks. Looked a little nervous out there. Dolphins got a lot of things to work out. Next, we got the Patriots over the Chargers, 35-21. And I'm a little upset that my upset didn't go the right way, but I should have known. The Patriots, they look really good. Tom Brady was just as efficient as ever. May have been even better than he was last week. Now, as far as the Chargers, they had a lot of yards on offense, but they just couldn't come away with the victory. Didn't show enough and had too many turnovers. So look for them to correct that next week and come back strong against the Chiefs. Next we got the Sunday night game. I picked this one right. The Falcons over the Eagles, 35-31. This one was really close though. If Michael Vick hadn't have gotten knocked out with that concussion, I think it would have been a different story. But as it is, Falcons look like the better team and maybe on the road to the Super Bowl like I picked before the season. So we'll see. All right, last we got the Monday night game. Giants over the Rams. I could have seen this one coming. No Steven Jackson. The Rams just look like a lot weaker team. Sam Bradford is just not strong enough at this point to carry the team on his own. So when Steven Jackson comes back, everybody needs to watch out. But right now, you don't need to worry about the Rams too much if they're playing them. As for the Giants, Giants look like a strong team in a lot of areas, but Eli Manning's kind of holding them back. Not that he's a bad quarterback, but he's just not playing well right now. He just needs to step it up and get it together. Now let's get into my players of the week. First, got Offensive Player of the Week. Once again, we got Tom Brady. I didn't want to pick the same player again, but I couldn't argue with the numbers. Plus 400 yards again, 31 for 40 on his passes. That's amazing. And, of course, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, the guy's a machine. What can I say? The offense looks incredible. Patriots look tough. Next, we got Defensive Player of the Week. Charles Woodson on the Packers. He had 2 key picks in the game against the Panthers. Even had a fumble recovery. This guy is a surefire Hall of Famer when he retires, and right now he's still playing at a high level. On special teams, this week I didn't see anybody on special teams that made too much of an impact, so no Special Teams Player of the Week this week. Now it's time for my predictions, so let's just go down the line. Got the Patriots over the Bills. Next, I got the Panthers over the Jaguars. I like what I'm seeing from Cam Newton. I got the 49ers and the Bengals next. I like the 49ers. Browns and the Dolphins. I like the Browns. Lions and the Vikings. I like the Lions. Saints and the Texans. I like the Saints. Giants and the Eagles. This is kind of an upset. I like the Giants. Unless Michael Vick plays, then it's a different story. But for now, I like the Giants. Next, we got the Titans and the Broncos. I like the Titans. Jets and the Raiders. I like the Jets. The Jets, I think, are going to pull away with this game and show that they're a 3-0 powerful team in the AFC. Next, I got the Chargers and the Chiefs. Chargers in a huge blowout. If this game's not a blowout, there's something wrong with the Chargers. They should blow this team away at Jamal Charles-less Chiefs. Ugh. Next game. Ravens and the Rams. I like the Ravens. Packers and the Bears. I like the Packers. Cardinals and the Seahawks. I like the Cardinals. The Falcons and the Bucks. I like the Bucks. But this is going to be a tough game like usual. Next, we got the Steelers and the Colts. What do you think? I got the Steelers. And last, I got the Monday night game upset. I got the Redskins over the Cowboys. So, Skins, show me what you got. Alright, so let's wrap this up by answering last week's question of the week. Question was, who do you think is the best team in the NFL at this point in the season? Most everybody said the Patriots. My pick, the Packers. Why? Because they're still the Super Bowl champions and nobody's beat them yet, so that makes them the top dog. Plus, Aaron Rodgers still looks like a beast. Now, we got this week's question of the week. It's a little bit different. Who do you guys think is going to have a better season between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? To me, those are the top two quarterbacks in the game right now, and I want to see what you guys think as far as who you think is going to be better. So, question of the week, who's going to have a better season this year, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? Leave your answer down below in the comments. Be sure to subscribe. And that wraps it up for this week's NFL Report, Week 2 edition. I'm your host, Dan. I'll see you again next week for Week 3.